Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Real Hustle Creatives Unplugged. I'm your host and moderator. My name is Laura Key. I've been an actor, a host, and a voiceover artist in the Singapore media industry since 2008. I'm also an advocate for media workers. Now, for today's topic, which is a very important topic on workplace safety, I have three guests with me here today. First of all, I have Jean C, very familiar face. Now, Jean C, she is a Labour-nominated Member of Parliament. She's very passionate about advocating for freelancers' work rights and prospects. And next to her, we have Zam. Now, Zam, he is the founder of Stills Network. His expertise is in equipment management, set coordination, and supporting photographers to bring their creative visions to life. He's also very passionate about empowering others in the creative industry. And of course, we have Sunny Pang. I actually grew up watching him on screen. But Sunny Pang has over 25 years of experience in acting, stunt work, fight choreography, filmmaking. He's also the founder of Ronin Action Group, which was formed in 2012. And he's also believes very strongly in the power of storytelling through action and emotion. Now, today's topic is workplace safety. So we're going to dive directly into the meat of the topic, okay? Since we're all practicing in the media industry, would you like to share any particular workplace safety incidents that stood out, in the course of your very long careers? Were there things that happened and, were there ways that they could be prevented and what happened?
I think my experience was like quite a few. I mean, I started being a stuntman back in 1994, 95. But before that, I was actually an extra, right? So I still remember a scene where we need to climb all the way out top to the hill because we dressed up all in period clothing and so on, right? You're just acting out. At the same time, you're a stuntman. So you got like, okay, gung-ho and say, just climb the hill and no problem, secured by one rope. So all the way I look up into it and just like, huh? Climb this hill. There is the sharp edges rock just beneath down there. So because I want to prove myself with all the ego when you're young, everything happens stupidly. So climb up, and then after that, I just let loose a little bit, try to adjust myself. And when I go back and try to reach for the rope, the guy actually threw the rope and then I slipped and I fell. And I drop all the way down. I managed to push forward and grab hold of the rope. And I slide down in the midpoint. My hand was burned. I was just holding my dear life. If I would have missed out the grip, probably won't be talking to you right now because those rocks are very sharp. And what we have is only one mattress back then. So those are the things I tend to think about. Is this what I'm signing up for?
Is it something that is still, that was back in the 1990s. Is that something that you see nowadays as
Well, still pretty much happens right now in some ways because they like to hire. I just hate doing this because that we are trying to practice. My team and I are trying to practice something safety on set. Whether what kind of your role is make sure you go back safe to your family.
Yeah.
But there's still some practices using real knife, blunt it on the road, and use it to do action stabbing in a scene. I was just like, you are kidding me. So usually what we do is prepare every single one. We come in earlier and we do everything. We read the script because I'm an actor myself.
Yeah.
Have a lot of discussion with the producer, with the directors, with the crew, this is what we need to prepare so we don't have to get yourself into trouble.
Yeah.
And anything happens, one life is gone. For instance, that there was one guy doing a stunt, break his finger without any preparation, without any training whatsoever. And then when he tried to claim his insurance, he said that the person in charge of stunt said, you only break one finger.
How many fingers does he need to break to get insurance?
Are you kidding me? You say this to your guys and they work for you? He's making the scene happening for you. You should be looking after.
Yeah.
I still remember in Marina Barrage, we're shooting one car, a scene. Then suddenly, mid of the shoot, suddenly going to rain. Very strong wind. So there's a direct wind hitting the 20x20. So it's like one of the stands is already flying off already. So we tie all the rope there, but it's still moving. So basically, we have to have the producers, the production, the crew all keep holding the thing, right? But still, very windy. And beside it is just a glass. Anything that split second release, it will just hit the glass and shatter the whole thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, nothing happened.
Yeah.
We finished the shoot safely. everything. But then I do pre-IM the photographers and production house that this is not the way how we work. Okay, we want deadline. We want to shoot this and run, all this thing. But we forget about safety thingy. But that period of time when I was not aware like safety, we are more aware on earning income.
And trying to just do what people want you to do, I think.
Yes, correct.
It's very, you know, as crew, as talents, sometimes you just want to do what the clients want or the hirers want so that you can get the next job.
Correct.
Right. So in that case, what do you think would be, if someone today was asked to do that, what do you think should be a right?
I think probably we have to bring out risk assessment, right? Come up with risk assessment to the photographers or the production house.
Yeah, but the problem is just that I totally agree with you. Risk assessor is very important. Like when we go into shoots, right? I mean, those like heavy loaded with guns, with whatever it is. It's very important that if you know that there is something regards to knife, weapons, guns, explosion, fire, water, wind, weather, everything's accountable.
Yeah.
Every single one, even the crew, whether be it your crew, your actor, your director, there is no hierarchy to us, because that was exactly what I was being taught. Everybody's accountable. So the thing is that by doing that for risk assessor, we risk assess, like me and this Abang from CDF, and then we talk about all the safety problems, issues that we have on set. Like for what the company is trying to do is to cut costs. Because it's okay, no problem, just do it,
Would it affect insurance also, or this kind of thing?
The thing is that the insurance part, that we can actually work with the insurance company to talk about, what are the things that, the risks we are looking into. So they can assess among themselves what can or cannot be done. So therefore, bouncing back, you have a report from the government side, from the CDF side. It's very important. A lot of people see that you don't need to do so troublesome.
Why so troublesome?
Yeah, so troublesome, so long-winded. What do you mean by long-winded? I mean, you work with the governments rather than you work with somebody that, I know everything. No, thank you. Because these guys, CDF, they work 24/7. They went through all those disaster and so on. They know about all these things. Well, that's why I work with this Apang from CDF. He said that we need more companies like you to do all these things. But the problem is just that when they just hear us, when we come in, we demand a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not because we're trying to interfere your creative.
Yes.
But then again, you want this to happen, you have to understand that there's life. I mean, I don't care what it is. I'm trying to save your company reputation as well. You want good production quality, you need to plan ahead. Not simply just because of like your egos. No. There's another incident not too far back, maybe 1 year plus. Self-proclaimed what superstar want to be a stunt coordinator. And this guy just do this stunt work, a fight choreo with an actor. There's no background, and with a stunt person, a female,
Who's
did the
trained,
fight
yeah.
scenes, who's trained. She torn a ligament, and she was just left there and do nothing at all.
Yeah.
And this guy actually go back to the director and try to praise the director and try to change things, and she was not even attended to. And she was have to hop her way out about 400 meters away to get a grab.
Yeah.
And you know about this incident.
Yes.
I didn't know about this incidents, but if I want to know earlier, I'll probably take a cab, go over there, grab the guy, and then yell at him. You are destroying, first, our reputation.
Yeah.
Second, you are destroying a person's life. Her life depends on the way of her skill set.
Because she's a stunt woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to look at that interest, not our ego. And people comes in because of the ego. I know I become Donnie Yen or Bruce Lee. I will give you Bruce then.
I think also because I've done prior research as well on the precarious labor in Singapore's media industry. I've talked to media workers as well. I think some of the things that were highlighted is, for instance, crew, they say they work with electricity in the rain. There's also, of course, some climbing ladders and going to heights, and there's no real precautions there because people find it's a way of life. Everyone does it.
Yeah, I think most of the crew actually they don't know what is hazards or call it dangerous, because they also take it as part of the challenge. So it's very difficult to gauge I mean, on the danger side, or I am in the challenging side.
Maybe from here, from Jean, you have
Jean.
experience with VICPA members and things like that. Do they come with you, this kinds of cases as well?
Well, we do get questions, and I mean, of course, I think the challenge, right, especially for freelancers, is do I speak up? Do I have the right to speak up, right? And if I speak up, will I become, unemployed the next time round?
Yeah.
So I think having that safety culture, so example, having somebody appointed on set that I can speak up to, I think that's actually quite important. The other questions that we get also relate not so much to actually physical safety, but the emotional safety part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also something that we get.
Yes.
So we have physical safety, mental, emotional, as well as psychological safety.
Yes.
And one of the things that actors have to do, right, is intimate scenes. And in the Rise Media article that I was in, I did mention this briefly, that I was in a short film in 2007 where it was basically a sexual assault scene. And I was with an untrained actor. So it was basically new actor, right? An untrained actor without the intimacy coordinator. Back then, intimacy coordination is a new thing. It only came about 2017. So back then, 2007, no intimacy coordinator, untrained actor, director who just said, no, just go for it. Everything became very real. I think people forget that you are acting as an actor, but the touch and everything is on your body. So you go back home basically with the feeling of someone else's hands. The scars.
Yeah.
Basically, you're acting a character who is being sexually assaulted, but you go back feeling that you are the one who has been sexually assaulted, essentially. And I think people don't really see that part.
So I did this movie called short film called Bedroom Dancing, which we have to like completely almost naked. Yeah, except for the modesty patch, So after that, I said I request from the director. I said I need to talk to you. I need to talk to the actress. I need the producer to be around. Everybody should be around. Okay, what are we gonna do? We have to spill it out. And also that, can I do this? Can I do that? Or what the director needs me to do? Where do we go? It's very important.
Yeah.
So it's just like we have to respect whether you are being, male or female, doesn't matter. But then again, all these things has to be respected.
You have to talk through everything.
Everything.
Where you're comfortable with being touched. So the intimacy coordinator, I know she goes through things like, for instance, you have to go through like green areas, where you're comfortable being touched, where you're not comfortable. Intimacy can mean different things to different people.
Yeah.
To some people, even a hug can be a very intimate thing. We think, it's just a hug, that's all. But some people don't like to be touched, don't like to be hugged.
A lot of people thinking, just touch me, no, man, you can't do that. You have to respect the actress. And when we're doing all these things, we need to do this and we need to be on top. And she's gonna be on top, I'm gonna be below, whatever it is, blah, 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 finish. We go through that scene, we enjoy the process, but then again, we didn't disrespect each other.
Yeah.
Every time I say, hey, are you okay?
And when you say if you're okay, you really need to be very honest, I think, about what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we are not, a lot of times we just say okay just because we want to please people.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We definitely have a cue to saying that. I definitely give you a cue. Cue by giving me a slap on the face, a tap on the face, and okay, I'll stop. Because you must have a cue to signal you're just not comfortable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people just grab. I know some actors will take advantage of the female. Wow, this and that. They feel very proud of it. I look at him and just like, I don't know whether to call you a hole or something else, This girl is just like, she's pretty and everything, but doesn't mean that you take advantage of that,
Yeah.
right?
It cried. If the real life, it would be a crime.
Yeah, but pride and everything, and they are just disrespecting a woman. There was one director actually appointed me because there was one scene that we did. Appoint me to look after the actress, because I look like if I keep quiet, don't laugh, look like watchdog, right? So I just I get on scene and I coach the guy what to do, what the shot looks like. Yeah.
I think nowadays probably the intimacy coordinator should take over that role.
Yes.
And the intimacy coordinator, I've spoken to Rayanne before, who is our certified intimacy coordinator.
Good.
She says that it's very important that intimacy coordinator is brought in from a pre-production stage.
Yes.
So we have the whole planning there. Because, it's not just simply like one sentence on a script. It doesn't just say they had sex and it okay, then what happens, right? Kind of a thing, right? It's like an action scene, but it's intimacy. Yeah. So I think so now talking about intimacy, I think the next week we can talk about also in terms of mental and emotional, perhaps kind of safety on set is working hours. Okay? In our industry, and I'm sure Jean is very familiar with this as well, we have very long working hours. The longest time I have been on set is 24 hours for a shoot, and I was working as a production assistant. I have had friends who have been on set for 26 hours and things like that. It's like a badge of honor, but at the same time, it shouldn't be a badge of honor.
No.
I really think that 16 hours is the maximum for us to really focus on what we're doing, especially for the crew. Let's say we're doing a hard stop at 16 hours.
Yes.
We still have to prep, unloading the stuff. Take around 1 hours. Already 17 hours. Wrap as we put at 1 hours, 18 hours. How much time do we have to sleep and rest? And we travel back home. How long it takes?
And some people drive as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost 20 hours. And what if the next call time is early in the morning again? Like maybe 7 or 8. Right?
I think sometimes because they try to squeeze everything in one day as well, right? Especially commercial corporate shoots. The reason why it overruns so much is because they're trying to squeeze everything into a one-day shoot.
All right. And then the producer should know how the projector is, right? Basically, okay, from the point A to point B, how long you need to move your whole crew to one set. B to C, how long you need all these things. So if they work backward, right? I'm not trying to teach the producer how to work, but the crew is going through that moment of what their plan is, right? So when we see back the whole call sheet, this is impossible, man.
And it also comes to communicating with the client as well. Because sometimes I think the client's expectations, the budget might not cover quite that.
Yeah, I mean, I think for working hours, I mean, definitely for intimacy, that's something that we would recommend. Having professionals, somebody who is able to guide the process. I think that's super important. Yeah, so I mean, I feel it's non-negotiable. But then coming back to then the budget thing. So do we budget all these? I call it the price of safety, right? It's the price of safety. So, and if we agree that everybody is important and that we don't want people to be, hurt and then go home and that
Cry
the
about
life,
it.
yeah, it's terrible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, example, because of something that you do and then you can't walk. Yeah, I think that can be really that extreme, but it is not impossible. It's not impossible. So if we agree that that's super important, then how then do we factor it in the planning, in the budget? And of course, I know that it's competitive. So we sometimes under budget, we are over optimistic. We think that every day is a sunny day, but actually, like example, past few days has been raining, and if you have outdoor shoots, how? Right? So things happen. Then do we actually communicate it to the service buyer and say, I need to actually buffer safety. I need to buffer,
Contingency
manpower,
day.
contingencies. Yeah, because things don't happen.
And insurance as well. I think sometimes
Yes,
we don't buffer
definitely.
for the insurance.
Yeah.
Correct. Or we underinsure.
I totally agree with you, Jean. Okay, the thing is the problems that which I encounter the most, right? They always say there's no budget.
I feel that because I think the industry that we are in
Yeah.
is visible, but actually invisible.
It's invisible labor, yeah.
Yeah. So people watch, right? So they say, wow, so nice, wow, and it's like few seconds, right? But they don't realize actually it's many hours and they don't actually know what's happening. So people tend to underplay
Yeah.
actually.
And also under budget
Yeah,
because they
under
don't
budget.
realize the
Yeah.
manpower. They don't really know what's the purpose of all these people on set. Know what their roles are. Why am I paying this price for all these people on set? But that's a really big topic, of course, to talk about. That we'll talk about somewhere else. But budgeting and of course also standards on set. Why are there no proper safety standards?
Yeah,
on set, I
which actually, if you think about it, I mean, Singapore has many standards, right? Example, your plug has a label that
Yeah.
says that it's safe for use.
Yep.
So again, then the question is, we apply it to other things, like example, rice cooker, but we don't apply to humans who are working on set. And then and we ask ourselves why
Yeah.
why can't we do that? So I think it's also about maybe from a VICPA point of view, it's really communicating and say actually this is important.
Yes.
Then let's just sit down and say actually what's the price of safety? What for this type of set, for this kind of action scenes or whatever, actually how much does it realistically cost?
Yeah.
And then buyers just have to take cue and say, well, if I'm buying this service, I just have to factor in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't do this. Don't do this particular thing that costs this amount of money. Just stick with a safer formula or something that is not so pricey within budget. Yeah, I think That's the kind of communication and also certain standards that we want to just put it out there, but shouldn't be compromised.
No, shouldn't be. Okay, whatever budget that comes out down there, we can understand where you want to go. We understand, but it's the planning is very important. The understanding of the planning, the engagement of communication is actually between clients and the production house also very important. With the crew as well is very important, because sometimes they just crew come in and just put everything in done. That's it, forget it. They don't explain to you.
Actually, I realized, right, because we come from different backgrounds, but actually the potential of going to jail, I think all these actually should be communicated because all of us technically still fall under Workplace Safety and Health Act.
Yes,
We are all
correct.
responsible, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't think about the consequence. Yeah, so sometimes maybe also being very upfront to say that actually, did you know that if something did happen, this person's actually responsible and you could go to jail. So you may want to consider
Oh, that's a good one.
pre-planning
It's
stage.
not slapping left and right. It's to go to jail.
Oh, good. They'll appoint me to slap as well.
All right. So we've talked a lot about why we don't want to report sometimes, right? It's a fear of losing a job. It's a fear of maybe I cannot get my next job. Maybe I'll offend people. Maybe I'll be blacklisted and things like that. Is it necessary to report workplace safety and health issues? And perhaps where can they go to report?
Yeah, I mean, technically, the MOM website is quite comprehensive. So they explain the different roles that, example, production company could be the employer. They could also be actually the venue owner, and there's certain responsibilities. But if in doubt, my suggestion, of course, first within the set, you should report to the people who are in charge, right? The producers, the person appointed.
Yep.
Yeah, but if, example, you're not sure, then ask. Then just come to VICPA. Just ask us and say, okay, I have this, right? How can I go about dealing with this or highlighting it? And, let's talk about it and we'll guide you through that process. Yeah, so I think it's important to talk about it, not keep it. And then later on, you say, actually, I shouldn't have done it. Or after you're injured and say, that, actually, I shouldn't have done it. It's too late.
I think within the industry or so, we need to kind of create that safe environment where even a junior person can speak up and say, hey, I noticed something is not right. Because there's a certain hierarchy sometimes in our industry where the most veteran ones have the biggest voice. I mean, in every industry, I think the most veteran ones have the biggest voice. But sometimes the most junior ones can also notice certain things or, certain harassment or things like that could happen to them. Right.
I think that sometimes they just don't dare to speak it up because they are relatively thinking that this is one big deal, they're going to break through and be famous and so on. So usually that's the issue we need to address as well.
I think also maybe now I can move on to a little bit more about your advice as veteran freelancers, right, in this industry. Okay. If you meet people who are junior, right, as actor, stunt, choreographer, right, what do you think? What kind of advice can you give them to kind of advocate to protect themselves?
I think first of all, they should understand about who they are working with. Ask about the directors, because right now you have internet, you can just click their names, type in their names, and you find out who they are, right? The credibility of the company is one thing, but of course the director and the stunt person, what kind of credibility can you find online? How many projects have they gone through? You need to ask that, okay, can I see what am I going to do? Can I discuss with you? Can I discuss with the directors or the producers? Because if they say, no, it's okay, don't have to talk about. It's so easy one, they usually have that slogan.
Yep.
Therefore, that's a little bit of red flag. You need to flag a little bit.
And also not be afraid to speak up, I
Yes.
think. Because in a previous episode, actually, another actor did share, right, that he went on set, and then on set, he was asked to do an action scene. He wasn't aware of this beforehand. On set, he was told to do an action scene with someone, the lead actor, and it involved slashing the lead actor with letter opener that was a real letter opener. So it wasn't blunted. And then the director told them to work it out themselves. So
Good luck.
as an experienced stuntman, what will an actor, what will your advice be in that case?
Usually, I would just look at the producer. Can we have a word somehow? And the directors as well. A chat. I would just what the hell are you guys doing? I would definitely voice out because my stage right now.
Yeah.
I can talk about it, but usually it's not supposed to happen this way.
Yeah.
You're taking people live at risk. I mean, I can do that, but what about the other actors?
So you need to speak up for yourself, essentially,
Yes,
because at the
you
end
have
of the
to.
at the end of the day, it's your own life.
Yes.
And no job is worth you giving up your own life or giving up, any part of yourself.
That's last thing I want to say to. I was going to say it to the camera. Yes, you are doing this job, but remember, this life is more precious than your fame.
We always think about ourselves and say, actually, I'm just here to do something. But what we don't realize is that because we're freelancers, we are businesses, we are actually also coming in as professionals.
Yes.
And when you come in as a professional and you're assigned a certain responsibility, you can be sued.
Correct.
Right? And actually, the kind of impact is not just simply reputation, actually, it's financial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course you can go to jail, right? So that's the criminal part. But I think we don't realize that. So one of the things which I thought, we need to really perhaps have better education in the industry is that for those of us in positions of power, we're on set, there are some who make decisions. Actually, we are freelancers. And if we don't take matters in our own hands and make certain decisions and somebody gets hurt, actually you could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe that didn't sink in enough, and people make certain decisions because we thought, oh, we'll help the company save money, or we'll help the client save money. But what they don't realize is that can actually impact their own career.
Their own liability.
Everything,
for-
yeah. Liability.
Yes. So I think again, it's also not worth it. Why destroy your career just for that moment or just to save that couple of thousands? It's not worth it.
And I mean, if the people in power, do help out and have better planning, better budgeting, better safety standards, as a whole, I think the industry will also rise up.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
safer,
Yeah.
a workplace for all of us to work in, happier workplace for all us to work in, and also produce better quality work at the end of the
Yes.
day. And it helps Singapore media industry.
Yeah.
It was creative industry at the end of the day.
For sure. Yeah. So I mean, anyway, if there's any questions, right, just write to VICPA. We'll make sure that it gets answered, whether it's by the government, whether it's by veterans, whether it's by insurers. Just ask.
Yeah,
we
there's
don't
no
know
harm
what we don't
asking.
know. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you everyone for joining us for today's episode. And I would like to thank Aiszam as well as Study as well for sharing their experiences with us. If you have any reactions to today's conversation, feel free to comment below. If you'd like to join VICPA as a member, do go to VICPA's website. Also, if you do have any workplace safety and health concerns, you can also speak directly to VICPA. So thank you so much for joining me once again, and I'll see you around. Thank you.